Story 1. Husband refuses to accept newborn child. My husband started behaving completely differently after the birth of the child. My husband has never held on to this day. In our son's arms after birth, he didn't calls him by name, always says he's just a kid and he doesn't help me at all in caring for him. Last Tuesday, my husband moved into a camper so that, like him, says to be in silence for a while. Since then, I saw him for maybe 10 minutes. Before our son was born, we had a great marriage. I don't know what to do. Comments from the author, probably, this is not at all connected. And I'm just winding myself up. My husband was into boxing, semi-professional level up to 28 years old. He had to give up boxing after that. How he got a concussion. First, I thought he might need it, get an MRI. My husband's colleague, he works as a field mechanic at John Depp, came in yesterday to look at the baby. I asked a couple of questions, and it turned out that at work, my husband behaves as usual, forgetful and does not behave strangely. So it's probably something mental, not physical. Yes, here I'm just not myself. If I call local non-emergency help number fire department and I'll explain that my husband, who has a history of traumatic brain injury, not behaving as usual, what will they do it? Can they take him to examination? I'm ready to call. Just I don't want to make things worse if I'm wrong or so that he would be angry later me. To hell with it, I called. Maybe it's because of the concussions? Maybe because of something more? The person I was talking to at the fire station was very concerned and they send an ambulance. He'll do an MRI, whether he wants it or not. Maybe I'm going too far, but I saw that documentary about football players. My husband has had dozens of them over the years, concussions. Neighbors may call me alarmist, as much as you like, but I'm on edges. And before we get to the update, I suggest you write your opinion as to why the author's husband won't pick up his son, child. What happened to him? Well, if you, like me, have a question, why did the author call the fire department service and not somewhere else in the hospital, for example, or some other number ambulance? Then I'll explain. In some countries such as the United States, fire services often perform the function of a medical response. Why did they call in particular the fire department, not the ambulance? Because in the US, fire departments often work in conjunction with services ambulance. If a person calls non-emergency number of the local fire department parts, he may be redirected to doctors or send a team to help deliver the patient to the hospital. In this case, the woman probably did not call 911 to avoid calling the police or an ambulance aggressively. Well, quickly. But local fire department number who can help in assessing the condition. Well, now let's move on to the update and find out what happened next. Update 1. I called last night to the fire station and spoke with a firefighter about the strange behavior of the husband since our son was born. Taking into account that my husband had serious problems in the past, head injuries, he had been boxing since he was 12 until I was 28. I was worried. They sent an ambulance. Paramedics examined husband and said that something was wrong. We decided to take him to the hospital. Spent the whole night there while my husband was getting his scans and examinations. All possible ones were done: memory tests, cards, tasks, ingenuity, puzzles. I'm shocked depending on how bad things are for him now condition. I'm ashamed that I noticed how much he had degraded. Maybe I didn't want to notice anything. I saw how he struggled to name the city where I was born and lived the first 22 years of his life. He couldn't name mother's name, father's name. He could hardly answer to the simplest questions. Over the years, I noticed that he was getting smaller and smaller, talks about the past, almost stopped tell stories from my life. I didn't know it was because there is no longer any past. All photos, there is no special place for him in the house now, meaning he doesn't remember our first kiss, at the moment when he proposed to me, or the details of our wedding. He knows that it was, but specific memories lost. A psychiatrist came to see him, but there was little use. She kept asked if he wanted to cause harm yourself. He doesn't want to. She asked leading questions, as if she was trying to catch him. When I mentioned that I couldn't connect with our son, she waved it off and said that she had bypass. The neurologist here is wonderful. It really does matter. Today in the morning, my husband's boss came and several his colleagues. They were with me more frankly than ever before. It turned out that my husband hadn't been there for 2 years. Works as a trainer. Previously, he passed training in new John Deere technologies and then trained other mechanics. but at some point he stopped coping. He has entire notebooks with notes and instructions that he should know by heart. They became for him with peculiar crutches, so that at least somehow do his job. Now he rarely goes out on calls alone and almost always takes one of his colleagues with him. I met with a consultant who the neurology department is hiring for helping patients' families cope consequences of the illness of loved ones. She said that I should prepare for the fact that there are more and more domestic the responsibilities will fall on me. I'm scared. After all, the husband is the only breadwinner in the family, and I won't be able to replace his income with her skills and education. She explained that patients with such injuries like my husband's, they live off of usual routine. When the routine is disrupted, for example, the appearance of a child, they often do not their coping. My husband will remain in the hospital for a few more days. Tomorrow he meet with another psychiatrist and then it will be transferred to a more modern neurological center 3 hours away from here. If I'm lucky, I'll have a clear treatment plan and he will come back home by Wednesday or Thursday. Take care your brain. Guys, author's comments. My husband once he loved hunting. He looked forward to deer season all year long. I bought hunting magazines, I watched hunting programs on television. It was his passion, and then he just lost interest. It was a huge alarm bell and I missed it. I was too immersed in your small problems to notice. What an idiot I am. It's scary. After all, he only 35. Just think what he can do remain in this state for another 30 years and more. I'm ashamed to admit, but I had a good cry. I think, God. For a week before the baby was born, we bought new Chevrolet Tahoe. 72 payments. I wanted a new car for my birthday child. With my old car, there was no problem at all. Stupid. That's stupid. We're still paying for it. Truck, mortgage, credit cards, payments for instruments. Child bills haven't arrived yet. Now there will be bills for this as treatment. We have insurance, but the extra payments are very large. I'm trying to avoid this. Don't think. Update 2. It was a long and hard week. On Monday, my husband went to a major neurological center in the city, and there they confirmed the diagnosis of chronic traumatic encephalopathy. He probbled there until Wednesday and then returned home. We worked with a consultant, and my husband was there, held his son in his arms for the first time. There was such an upset expression on his face. Then he burst into tears and said, "That's all. What I ever wanted, and I can enjoy it. I have a heart, it was breaking down. I had to leave the room." Brain injuries are tricky things. Neurologists, they said that at best my husband's condition won't get worse. When I asked about the worst case scenario, they said so that I would be ready to send him home. Elderly. It all looks like emotional roller coaster. We work with a local consultant churches to develop a strategy adaptations. This is biblical funded consulting tithe, so it's free. For we have fixed times on Fridays for o'clock p.m. My husband is doing well with his injury. Functions if it has routine, but babies have no routine My husband gets up at 5 o'clock am, and then drives 10 kilometers, running. Then exercise, shower, shave, brushing teeth, breakfast, and he starts day. His routine is disrupted. He can recover and adjust. Even our dog adapted to his mode. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to run, and babies don't live on a schedule. It's difficult. Don't despair. I see how hard it is for my husband. Adapt. He's upset that he cannot quickly master new tasks. I am patient and supportive of him, but he still gets upset. For example, when he packs his baby bag, he knows, what things should I take? But without a checklist, can't do it. And to hell with it, I'll make checklists. The nurse said that it is important to do everything to the maximum. As usually, it's painful to watch how a 35-year-old man can't figure out how many diapers to take a trip to Walmart. I made checklists for. That's all. If that's something he does constantly, he copes. But he has to study. It's hard for him to do something new. It's surprising that I didn't notice anything many years ago. That's all. What can I say in my defense? I just got into the usual rhythm with him. I didn't ask about anything. If I asked, I wanted to do something, but he refused. I just did it myself. It never occurred to me. It occurred to him that maybe he wanted to eat outside at home because I'm making breakfast causes him anxiety, which he cannot cope with. Wants to collide. Feel free to nominate me for the Wife of the Year award, although, most likely, I will be second after Lorena Bobbitt. Lorna's note cut off her husband Hose because of violence with his parties. The owner of the John Deere service in on Saturday, the manager invited me and him dinner service to come up with a plan. How to keep your husband at work. The owner old school. He is categorically against it. That a young man like me, I was living on benefits to support my husband family. Thank God. They're getting ready. Assign a junior technician to my husband full-time so that he could be with him on all tasks. The service also has a pile of old equipment in the parking lot in mostly junk. They'll have a sale, and all the money will go to pay as sort accounts. General manager yet checks with JD Corporate to see if they have assistance programs that could be applied to claim dealer mechanic. It seems there is some kind of fund there. They paid my husband a full 40-hour period last week's salary. The husband agreed, so that I could take control finances. It seems like we haven't missed any deadlines. One payment and credit history, we are good. So it should be pretty simple. Paying bills and maintaining the checkbook became a real thing for him, a burden. This explains why some time ago he stopped giving me access to a bank account. It's simple, I told him to pay for everything with a credit card, but he'll figure it out himself. Another huge one. Alarm bell that I missed it. Looking back, I see so many signals that I missed. I feel like an idiot. Damn, I made fun of his forgetfulness. She joked that he was an old boxer with a hole in his head. I feel so bad. Even I can't imagine how much I miss him. These years have been confusing. If I live 2.0 years, I still won't be able to atone for this. The baby is doing well. Now that I am not so blind anymore, it's getting easier to take care of both my husband and my child. His parents left on Sunday, and his dad is flying away tomorrow. Then we'll go again. We're staying just the two of us. It was a bit cool be with help. It's a pity that we live in such a wilderness. In the neurological center, there are outpatient programs in the city, which could help the husband. But this is 6 too many hours of travel there and back, too far to travel 3 times a week. We're basically stuck here. I doubt it that my husband will now be taken somewhere else. We will go to the center once a month for monitoring. This is the best we can do. This is not a movie where people they drop everything to do what is best. In real life, sometimes you have to choose the worst option. On Wednesday, we meet with a lawyer from our church to draw up the documents that will give me the right to manage finances and make medical decisions. I think it's called a power of attorney. He tells us everything. We'll issue for my homemade apple pie. Thank you all for your support. Author's comment, doctors collected a complete medical history and did scan with contrast. You're right. The only way 100% diagnose chronic traumatic encephalopathy is autopsy after death. However, his symptoms and medical history led neurologists came to the conclusion that my husband had this diagnosis. Given its extensive history of traumatic brain injury, it's unlikely that it's anything else. They develop a treatment plan for chemotherapy. Now we will move on to the next story. So you see, after all, what can cause real boxing sparring after such a story will make you think 10 times whether it is worth it to participate in this. I myself went to some little time for boxing, but in sparring I never got a chance to participate. And now I understand that maybe this is to the best. In any case, I can say if you can't do boxing for health reasons, then this one history shows that it's not that bad. Maybe, on the contrary, it's good. And by example, we see from the same Klitschko that this has an effect on the brain. It doesn't have a very good effect. Well, or maybe you have some kind of diametrically opposed the opposite opinion. Write it in comments. Personally, I think that engage in some kind of wrestling. It's worth it. It's very good and useful. But that's how much to participate. Whether you are a professional in this is a question. Because, again, when I went to boxing section, then I saw how much people still have injuries. Meniscus, knees, it all just flies off at once. Some kind of competitions. Often not at all during competitions. And during preparation competitions. Story 2. I left at the last minute. Story 2. Refused to babysit a friend's children. Refused to babysit my friend's children. For a week, a friend called me back. We're not great. Close, but on good terms, and often we meet in the same company. She said that her children spoke as they having fun with mine and asked if they were free this Saturday. Then it was through a week and a half. My children are her children. I really like them and I would like to get to know her better. So I said, of course. She was delighted and she said that her husband was leaving and she needed him. Babysitter from 8 o'clock am to 10 o'clock p.m. I felt cheated. I thought we would all have a good time together, but I felt awkward refuse when I already said that I'm free. I should have said so right away. But I didn't do that. And yesterday I met another friend and she asked if she was happy I'm coming Saturday. It seemed to me, it's weird because, well, no, I'm not in. I'm thrilled that I'll be there for 14 hours to sit with other people's children. But I replied that my children are, of course, happy. She said, great, your husband will drive. Children somewhere to have fun, or who will they watch them? I grimaced and she said that I would sit with them myself. She was surprised and asked, so you didn't, are you going? But anyway, last week I did not go to the final meeting parents committee because I started my period and I felt broken and just didn't want to go anywhere. As it turned out, later some of the friends went to lunch after the meeting. Together, they decided to have a big baccalaureate party to relax before in the summer when the children will be around all day at home. Go to the city, do some shopping, get a pedicure, eat at good places, restaurants. Well, you get the idea. And when someone suggested inviting me, because I would be interested in this too, my friend said she still needed to discuss some business with me parents committee and that he will tell me about it when he calls. But instead, she just decided to use me as a free nanny. I called this friend and said that I didn't knew about the baccalaureate party and that I couldn't do it again. Look after her children. She asked, can my husband look after her too? Children, to which I said a firm no. She started crying that it was very bad for her necessary. And what should she do now? After all, my husband won't be home, and I'll have to find someone who will look after 5 children for free 14 hours. It's already late. And when the tears don't work, she got angry. She said that it is rude to refuse an obligation just so I could selfishly have fun and that I'm terrible girlfriend. All my girlfriends now feel extremely awkward about this situations. We have always been friendly company, without any drama, so I understand that no one wants to accept anyone's side. And now I'm not sure if I should participate this event. So I entered. It's bad that I refused to look after her children, although she promised. Now we will move on to the current one's comments, but before that I suggest write your opinion on the situation. And let's continue. Current comments. It is obvious that your company is not without drama, as you say. It's true. We don't super close-knit. We don't get along that often. We're getting ready. And I know that it happens that some people date and some don't. And that's it, no problem. But I'm starting to wonder, what if they are actually closer between ourselves than I thought? And I just don't part of this circle in full. It's worth it. Think seriously about those friends who took her side. That was the most offensive in everything. We are not the kind of company that we are always together and each other lives. Friend's house. We're getting together for the days, birth from time to time or after some kind of meeting, like that day. But I have known most of them for over 10 years now. Years. The same amount of time I've been living here. And I thought we had a real friendship. However, now no one even acts as if something happened completely abnormal. To be honest, I am starting to doubt if I even wanted to go. Before I wrote the post, I was just angry and irritated at one specific woman. And after reading your comments and thoughts, to me, it's just sad that no one really cares. I don't care. And by the way, I definitely won't to watch her children. I'll just spend the day doing something for yourself. Update. Someone asked me to tell you how it all ended. So here it is. I followed the advice of many of you and I talked to one of my friends, with whom I am the closest in our company, to understand what's going on. Sarah said that she herself is a little angry at everyone. After I met my friend, let's call her Casey so we don't get confused. Casey told everyone that happened. Everyone agreed that Jenny's nasty friend shouldn't have lied or cheat to make me sit with her children. But at the same time, everyone sympathized with her. It turns out that this weekend is Jenny's 15th anniversary wedding, but her husband forgot about it and planned a trip with friends' tents. She was sad and angry on her husband, and everyone knew that she really needed it. There will be a small foray to raise mood. And although it seems no one blamed me for refusing babysit her children, they are all the same were worried about Jenny and put all their energy into figuring out how she will still be able to go. Nobody really paid attention to whether I would go myself and showed no interest in what I had to say. It was sad. Except for Sarah. When it's time to finally approve, someone decided to come up with a plan, and it turned out that if I go, then we won't fit in the Chevrolet Subaru. Kim, which everyone was going to ride on. The road to the city takes 2 hours, and everyone I wanted to go in one car. Sarah invited me to go with her to her car, but it all looked so tense and uncomfortable that I just refused to go. I already mentioned in comments that I'm not one of the most active members of our company, but I know most of these women are already almost 10 years. I thought there was more to our friendship. Depths. I don't think any of them treats me badly or doesn't love me. But now I understand that I am for them, just not that important. It was pretty unpleasant. And, of course, I have eyes opened. All this happened in Thursday, and I won't lie, it was unpleasant. The next day my husband came home for lunch and told me to quickly. I was packing my bag for the evening because he booked a hotel room for me and my little one so that we could arrange our baccalaureate party. An hour later, his mother and sister, Mum, looked after the children until my husband returned from work, and we, his wonderful sister, spent time together. Wonderful 24 hours. Some people can be complete idiots. I'm damn happy that my husband and I family does not apply to them. Story 3. The husband's ex-wife wants. Story 3. My husband's ex-wife wants to kick me out of the house. I moved out of my house with my children so she could live there. My ex-husband and I, the divorce has been going on for almost 3 years, although he hasn't wanted to get divorced. But we separated and have been raising each other peacefully ever since our 2 teenage children. He lives in 5 blocks from our house, and although we have 50/50 custody, the children are free move between our houses and on their own choose where they want to spend the holidays. We tried very hard to preserve stability despite the divorce, and we go for preventive checkups twice a year, family therapy, to make sure that everyone is comfortable with our agreements. His current partner, Maria, she is 29. The only girl who lasted longer in a relationship with him 6 months. Before this incident, I would have even said that she makes him happy, and in general, she is a pretty reasonable woman. I have a very sweet and developed non-gamer son. He is 9 and we all adore him. I thought everything was going well for us. Suggested that Maria bring her son to us if he wants to join mine children in private foreign language lessons. She agreed, and so the children, we've been doing this for several weeks now. The kids love him. Last week, Maria told me something amazing. She asked when I was planning to leave with my things so that she and my ex were able to move into our house. I was stunned and asked again from my current home. From this, she is unperturbed replied, "You don't need that much space on 3, and in the current apartment of our former, it will be cramped." Her son at that moment looked terribly embarrassed and upset. So I just said, this conversation needs to be had with my former. My children and I live in a townhouse, which my ex and I once bought in equal shares, but which I started repair before the divorce. Ex lives in a good and spacious, but a little men's den apartment. Later in the evening, I received a message from her son, in which he begged me to forgive him. Mum said that he was ashamed of her and asked me not to tell my ex. I feel terribly embarrassed, but I think that I should tell my ex about this conversation and let him do it himself, figure it out. Will it be wrong? Tell your ex about your concerns about his girlfriend. By the way, I, the sole owner of the house, former insisted during the divorce that he remained with me. We still share the apartment. We own it equally. Before the divorce, we owned both properties, completely mortgage-free. The divorce was very peaceful, and he insisted that I leave a townhouse for ourselves. After the divorce, we registered transfer of ownership of a townhouse with the help of a lawyer, and the ex signed documents. He still hasn't got the apartment. Did this? I asked a couple of times, and he always laughed it off or walked away. Answer: I'm his ex, and I'm not going to always press him on the issue that he puts it off himself. Edited. I'll answer some popular questions. Awkward. The conversation took place in person. I quickly stopped because her son was nearby, and I realized that he was aware of the situation, and he felt awkward. Later, he wrote to me, "With your own phone. It's special. A child in the best sense of the word, very mature and developed beyond his years. The point is that I think they are with my ex. We didn't discuss it at all. It seems like I just decided so myself. When we separated, my husband insisted that the house remained for me and that I don't need buy out his share. The house belongs only to me, and this is absolutely true from a legal point of view. I just then got nervous and blurted out that we were doing this. Let's discuss it, because her son was nearby. Update after 3 months. I'm taking a long time. I put off talking about Mary's words, convincing myself to believe in the best intentions or awkward curiosity. I reasoned, so this is my home, and they will take me out of here only feet first. I admit, I was also afraid to spoil the happiness ex-husband, and I didn't want to look like an embittered ex. The kids are doing great, spent time at the camp, and about a month later we had a family dinner with my and his parents. The ex brought Maria. That's all. It started off great. Everyone was warmly received. Her and her son. Maria helped me finishing dessert in the kitchen, and I was proud of our family relationship. Despite the circumstances, suddenly she casually said that she would arrange it. There are parties here. The former at that moment I went into the kitchen with the kids, heard and asked, "Oh, the author suggested shall we have a party?" And then Maria's son, he just burst into tears and started apologizing. This was perhaps one of the most awkward situations in my life. In short, the whole family found out that the ex I had a vaccination after the divorce and is going to get married again. After dinner, I talked to him about that first conversation with Maria and showed the correspondence with her son. They are not together anymore. I'm worried for Maria's son, although I understand that it's none of my business. I don't know what I can do. To do here, changed. Some asked why I added haha in at the end of his comment that I own half of his apartment. It was rather from awkward irony. He is an extremely goal-oriented person, and he built a brilliant career. But in everyday life, his affairs are a mess. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to share your opinion on all of this in the comment stories. Thank you for watching this. Watch the video to the end. See our previous videos that you will see here. Also be sure to subscribe to our channel, and good luck to you.